So, listen up, Apple haters. iPhone sales eclipse Microsoft and Amazon. So there is something going on here that Apple never talks about activations, and the reason for that is they don't want to let people know how many people activate the iPhones. There aren't 9 million activations of the new iPhone in the first weekend. That's just like, I haven't even read the text, but I'm pretty sure Apple doesn't talk like that. There's been like maybe 4 million activations, and 9 million have shipped from the factory. And that's not the same as saying 9 million people bought the iPhone, okay? So that's the first thing I would like to say here. On a beautiful morning here in Japan, and the volcano, if we're lucky, is going to let me make this video. Okay, I'll start making the video. So I'm checking Techmeme. I'm just gonna list all the BS stories of the days because this is BS every day in Techmeme, but don't take my word for it. Just go on Techmeme. So here's Microsoft building a single app store for next Windows Phone and Windows release. So I was saying that Microsoft is building a single app store. So Microsoft Windows makes no sense. That's number one. Just make an Android surface. Put the Metro on the Android. I mean, that's the easy thing, and it'll make you sell more devices. And Microsoft doesn't need to sell Windows code. They just need to send Windows platform, which they can do on Android, which is compatible with the other apps. And you can even have the full Google Marketplace on the Microsoft device, which is what Nokia should have been doing 3 years ago. And they would have been huge, and they wouldn't have like lost all this money. So that's point number one. And here it says Google unveils search updates for mobile, new page rank algorithm, and knowledge graph comparisons. So I don't know, I guess it might be news because there's some kind of anniversary, I guess, going on. But Google updates the search like 100 times every year, or maybe like dozens of times every month, and it doesn't really get to be news. And I haven't checked this, but I don't think it's huge. I just think it's well, it is huge, but it's just like it's never been news before, so why should it be news now? I mean, Google just improves it all the time, and it's not news because people don't understand. I don't understand, and it's pretty high end stuff. PayPal acquires a payment gateway. So there's PayPal taking 2.9% of every transaction. Is that cool or not? I don't know. It'd be awesome if there was a way to pay for free and to cancel these credit cards and all that stuff and have something new that's just free, because transactions should be free. But what can we do? We just have to use PayPal, and if it's not PayPal, it's some other credit card processing and transaction kind of company. They're also taking 2.9%. They're all taking 2.9%. And so maybe it'd be nice to have something alternative. It would be nice to have seen Google come with like, what do they call it? Checkout, but it being kind of like free and an alternative to PayPal, but it's not. And that's probably because the banks and all that, they don't let it happen. So, is Ford Alan Mulally the CEO of Microsoft? I don't think so. Well, if he wants to be, why not? But Microsoft, the future of Microsoft is Linux. The future of Microsoft is Android, which is crazy. The future of Microsoft is free software, open source. There's no way to compete now. It's done. And of course, ARM-powered. So basically take the Android and make a Microsoft version. It's a very simple suggestion here. And I would guess that most of the real engineers in Microsoft want this. They don't want to work in some proprietary closed ecosystem. It just doesn't make any sense to anyone that I think develops. I'm not a developer, so maybe I'm talking BS, but I'm just talking here. Backpack to remember. Can Evernote become a lifestyle company? Evernote? I've never used Evernote, so I don't really know what's going on here, but I don't think it's important. Evernote, people talk about it. Netflix expands Super HD and 3D streaming to all of its members. So Super HD, I guess it means high bitrate, 1080p. It probably looks good. and Netflix is doing a good job in kind of like getting some movies to work, but this is still something that I don't really approve. I don't approve that there's just a bunch of movies, a bunch of TV shows, but not all movies and all TV shows. It just makes no sense. Why would I want to pay $15 per month and not even know for sure that I get all the movies that I want? They provide some movies that I want to watch, and that's kind of cool. And they provide TV shows that I want to watch, and that's kind of cool. But I want to have everything. And you don't get that on Netflix. You don't get that on any of these systems. So what needs to happen is kind of like a digital library. And that all these internet service providers should be able to provide all movies and all TV shows unlimited for free without having to license any of it from the content makers. It's going to be a flat fee, and whatever content you get, the license needs to be the same. So this is where the future, maybe eventually it'll be a tax. This is what needs to happen. And here, what's next? Oh, there is the next story. Evernote, Netflix. Finally, Bill Gates admits Control-Alt-Delete was a mistake. Bill Gates has done worse things than Control-Alt-Delete. I didn't know he did that. I have a theory that if Windows 95 was free and open source today, there wouldn't be any wars in the world, and we would be on Mars, sending humans on Mars. It's just, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm not so sure that Microsoft has been such a good thing for the world. That whole monopolistic way of handling the industry is not cool. So I think it's fine that he's realizing that, and he's trying to give some of it back to humanity. So that's fine, but still it's not even like a small part of what I think Microsoft has destroyed. But maybe it doesn't sound so cool when I talk like this, but this is what I'm thinking. Intel looking for help from Amazon or Samsung to keep its web TV project alive. So Intel is looking for a lot of things to stay alive. What shall I say? Good luck? Not really. I don't wish them luck. Because Intel has also been very, well, it's going to sound repetitive, but Intel is not cool. It's not been cool. But they don't need luck. They need to be intelligent, which I know lots of engineers at Intel are very intelligent. So just put them in charge. Don't put like business people in charge. This is like rule number one. Silicon Valley, put all your clever people in charge. Don't put the business people in charge. Because the business people might make a little money here and there quickly for themselves, but they're not making anything good for the company or for the world. So put the engineer in charge, and the first thing they're going to do is make ARM processors at Intel fabs. It's easy. Intel could be making some of the best ARM processors in the world, compete with Samsung, compete with the Apple A processors made by Samsung, compete with TSMC, compete with Global Foundries, make some ARM processors, and then you'll be in all the smart TVs. You'll be in all the tablets and all the smartphones. I mean, come on. Just be like, you know, I'm not an engineer again, but so maybe they don't think like me. Clinking old big comms, a tech celebrity magnet, Richard Branson, an investor. So I really don't care about this. This is a guy from Virgin Atlantic or something. Investing? Fine. Okay. News. FAA panel recommends easing ban on electronic devices during takeoff and landing. Cool. It should be a... Well, I just feel privileged to when I can fly in an airplane. It's so awesome to fly in an airplane. So I'm not gonna like demand to get Wi-Fi and all that stuff, but it sounds cool. If we can get Wi-Fi, we can get internet access, and we can use devices all the time in airplanes. Cool. I hope it's. I'm pretty sure it's safe. So, but I mean, ask the pilots, because all devices have been actually on forever. Like when people say turn off the mobile phones, you can be sure there's like 10, 12, or at least 20 mobile phones that are still on in the plane. So that's been going on forever, and I guess pilots know if it does interfere with their communications, and I guess it probably doesn't, or you just use another. Well, radio is weird. I don't know how radio works. LA officials may delay school iPad rollout after students hack them for personal use. So now this is completely insane. Why would any government use an iPad? An iPad is $500. Why don't you do half price Android rollout? It just makes no sense. And the Android allows you to customize and customize for education. And that's where the money should go. The 200 extra bucks. You should use that if there's a million iPads you want to roll out. Instead, then get $200 million by doing Android, and the $200 million you spend it on optimizing education for tablets, optimizing the whole like content, but also the apps and the whole education UI. I mean, come on, anybody can do that. Like Los Angeles could easily do this. And I just find it ridiculous that they would want to give $200 million to Apple instead of putting $200 million into children. So I'm just saying, you know, I find it really ridiculous when people, they can do whatever they want for private use, but I just really don't get it why anyone would use Apple devices for education. Basically, Apple is just overpriced no matter what. So it's not something you do for public education. It's just like, it should be rule number one. You can easily do as good quality hardware using Android. Basically, it's exactly the same screens, same touch panels, same even better processors, much better connectivity using keyboards, accessories, all that. Everything is open. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. It's just because the LA officials have children that play with the iPad, so they get impressed and they say, okay, let's use this. But this, okay, yeah. It's sad because the OLPC, one laptop per child, should have been rolled out to 500 million children by now, but it's only in less than 5 million children's hands. So what we're talking about is 495 million children without proper technology in education. And that's not only in developing countries, it's also in developed countries. It's just children that are growing up with Angry Birds on one side and stupid school books on the other. So why is there no in between? It's really like, okay, this is one opinion. BlackBerry manufacturing party looking for bail. Okay, BlackBerry, you should have done Android since the beginning. And BlackBerry should have done Android since the beginning. Why would the Canadian company decide not to do Android? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, this whole video sounds repetitive and it's always going to be the same, I guess I'm going to say. No matter what happens, every day in Techmeme is going to be the same. BlackBerry, Nokia, HP, you should have used Android since the beginning. It's only because people in charge don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And it's sad for Finland with Nokia, and it's sad for Canada. It's just sad for the Canadians. Why do they want to fall in the water and drown? Why? It just makes no sense, because BlackBerry was cool. They could have stayed really cool. It's so simple. Just put BlackBerry Messenger on the Android and use that, and you'll sell so much more. It's just so automatic, and you'll make a lot of profits. It's not true to say that there's no profit in Android. Every Android company makes profits. Every. If they don't, it's because they're doing bad strategy. Sometimes like HTC, like limiting themselves their opportunity to only make expensive devices. You shouldn't do that. You should provide for the whole demand, for low end to high end. It should provide everything. Okay. Seriously, Samsung, sorry roamers, but the new Galaxy Note 3 is region locked. So, Samsung, they make cool devices like my Galaxy Nexus. And they make awesome devices, maybe the best somehow. But they play in this profit space and they want to be so expensive, which is, I would say, ridiculous. I don't recommend anyone ever pay more than $300 for a phone or for a Note device. It's just, I don't see it as, I just see it as, you know, I'd rather spend the money on traveling to Japan. You can travel to Japan for the same, from any country in the world. You can come here and see this mountain for the same amount of money as a Galaxy Note 3. Why would anyone want to spend money on a device that only is going to be new and cool for like 6 months maybe? So, and on top of that, the carriers are putting pressure and like sitting by the dinner table with the Samsung execs, and they're supposedly, I don't know if it's possible, but I guess it is, they're locking the device for it not to work when you travel. So you spend a fortune when you come to Japan, and it's really complicated to get a SIM card to work. You're going to be spending a fortune on roaming. I mean, already, if you talk about $500 device for a Note, that's like very underestimated. It's more like $700 or $1,000 if you want the gear, Galaxy Gear included, and that's just for the device. Most people are spending $2,000 or more on a 2-year contract, and all these websites never talk about the contract price. Do I like? No, I'm not. I'm just talking. I'm just what I'm thinking. Maybe this kind of video should not be on the web. Maybe it's not very good. Okay, let me go back here. Candy Crush Creator King files for IPO in America. I have no idea what it is. Major update to VLC for Mac. Adds 4K support, improved MKV support. Okay, so VLC, as far as I understand, is not hardware acceleration. It's just using the general purpose processor to do everything. Is that how it works? I guess that's how it works. So it's just using the Intel. It's not using hardware acceleration. That's not very optimal. On ARM-powered devices, you can't use VLC the same way because you want to use the dedicated DSPs or whatever they call the video engines to play all that stuff. But it's amazing that now on a $30 tablet, you can play 4K videos. And that's just a whole different way of doing things than VLC. So VLC has been cool in the Windows and the Mac world and wherever, and Linux, where you need to play codecs using the main x86. But this is not what the future is. So I'm sorry guys, but VLC is not the future. The future is extremely optimized, dedicated processing. So here we're talking Apple releases iOS 7 with fixed lock screen passcode bypass floor. This is another kind of like a funny thing. Apple is so secretive. They want to be so secretive. Every time they release a product, there's a huge problem because they haven't got enough people testing them, because they want to keep the device so secret. They want to keep the whole like gold thing and whatever secret, which they can't anyways. But by doing that, one time you can't hold the phone with the left hand, it just doesn't work. The other time there's one other problem, and it's just like, you know, right now I guess it's just a software issue, so it's fine. But it's still, everybody has an insecure iPhone. Supposedly if there's 9 million people the first weekend, which it's not, I'm pretty sure it's not, but I haven't read the test, but I'm pretty sure it's not. This is 9 million people with devices that can easily be stolen and easily, you know, you can easily, and that's a huge thing. It's like, I was in San Francisco and I saw a guy just grab 2 iPhones and run. It's something that these companies should have as a responsibility to make sure that the phones cannot be stolen and cannot be used when they're stolen. This is something technology can allow for, okay? And also easy logins and easy, let the engineers do it, please. Like let them like implement security. It's totally possible. It is possible. It's just they're not. I guess they're not being allowed to do it the right way. I don't know what's going on, but for now, these devices are not secure, and they're easy to steal, and they don't. They're like we're not there yet. Okay, it's a beautiful world we're living, but it's not safe in regards to technology. So Steer Kinetic Dex is a standing dex that learns your sitting habits, moves when you need a break. I have no idea what this is. But standing desk, I don't think so. Red partner Apple has raised over okay. Microsoft general, okay, whatever. Oh, this is it. We are on 27th of September, and thanks for watching this video. Maybe you can, if you see a lot of people downgrading this video, then please uprate it. That's a good deal.